Hello everyone, and welcome to our second video on the stimulus package. So these next few videos are just going to be on the detail of the individual items in the package. And once again, all this information comes from the Treasury website, where they've got really good fact sheets. And I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to go through the fact sheet and explain it in my own words and do my best to get you guys to understand exactly how they work, who's eligible, when you're going to get the payments, and how much you're going to get how much are the payments. So to start off with, today we're talking about one of the most significant one, which is the boosting cash flow for employers. So I've got the fact sheet here, and the first part of it is the initial payment for Payg withholding. Now it's going to be a 100% rebate for the Payg withholding up to $100,000 with a minimum of $10,000. And I just want you to remember that, a minimum of $10,000. Now you'll see in a second why that's so significant. So the period for these is all the way through to September. So the maximum you're going to get for that entire period, January through to September, is $100,000, and the minimum amount you can get is going to be $20,000. So two lots of $10,000. You'll see how that works in a minute with the timing. It's quite tricky, but the best thing about this package, you don't actually have to do anything. You just keep lodging your BASs or activity statements each month or each quarter, and the money will automatically be in the ATO integrated client account. Okay, so just stick with me. I'm just going to go with a little bit over the eligibility requirements and then a couple of examples, which is probably the best way that I'm going to be able to show you how it works. So all this information, again, from the Treasury website, and the examples as well are also from there. So let's look at the eligibility for the boosting cash flow for employers payment. So this is the first payment. So it's not the additional payment from June to September, it's the initial payment, so capped at $50,000. So you have to have an annual turnover of $50 million, of under $50 million, and you also have to be actively employing an individual or a group of employees before the 12th of March 2020. So they're your two requirements: under 50 mil and employing someone before the 12th of March 2020. Now, the additional payments are those, slightly different for quarterly and monthly lodges, and I'll get to that in a minute, so just bear with me. So the additional payment is the next $50,000, or the next minimum amount of $10,000, and that covers the periods after March. So here's your timing. The requirements for those are you just have to keep being an active employer. So you can't, obviously get rid of your employees and expect to get the rebate. So you have to continue to be an active employer. So the timings are here, and it goes into a little bit of detail on the difference between quarterly and monthly. So your quarterly timings are for the first quarter being March. It's just going to be the payment should be in your account on the 20th, before the 28th of April 2020, and for the quarter four. So it's a little bit tricky. I don't think it's quite right. This is really the additional payment. So just keep in mind, this is the first payment, boosting cash flow for employers, capped at 50 grand, minimum of 10, should be in quarterly lodges on the 28th of April 2020. Now your monthly lodges, they will get 3 times their March amount on the 21st of April 2020, and then for these will all come under the, so it's hard to explain, but this 3 times the March amount will come on the 21st of April. Now if they reach their cap before May, they won't receive any payments here, and their next lot of payment will be in June for the additional payment. Now stick with me, you'll see what I mean in a second. Then we have our timings of the additional payments. Again, for the quarterly lodges, that's going to be in June and September, coming out on the 28th of July and the 28th of October. And then your monthly lodges are going to get their additional payments between June, July, August and September, coming into the integrated client account on these dates here. So let's get straight into an example which is going to make it a lot clearer for you guys to understand. So the first one is where you've got a business that reports monthly, and during that month they've usually got $15,008 worth of PAYG withholding. So remember, this stimulus package is based on the withholding amount, not the actual wage. So her first payment she'll receive is for the March period, and that is 3 times that month. Because they're reporting monthly, we times that March month by 3. So $45,024. Her second payment will be $4,976. The reason being is because it's before June, they can only receive a maximum of $50,000. So that's it there, and then they don't get anything for May. So that's when the second lot of stimulus kicks in from June onwards, and they receive 25% of their initial payment in March, meaning $12,500, $12,500, $12,500, etc. for June, July, August, and September. So just bear in mind that for those monthly employees, it's worked out a little bit confusing, but it kind of does make sense. So they're just going to get a maximum of $50,000 in this period before June, and they're going to get a maximum of $50,000 in this period after June up until September. So let's go into, I'm just going to skip this one because it's very similar and go straight to a business that has casual workers and that aren't paying any actual PAYG. So imagine you've got some casual workers, you pay them maximum, you're paying them $10,000 per year, so you're not actually having to withhold any tax. So how's this going to work for those guys? And they're reporting on a quarterly basis. So you'll receive your $10,000 in the March quarter, so that's just, for your first quarter. And then your next 2 payments are going to come over your next 2 quarters. So it's 50% of your initial payment that you received in March will be received in June, and then 50%, being $5,000, you'll receive it again in September. So if you've got any questions on how this works, any generic questions, please comment below. But it is a little bit different between the two ways you're reporting. Now, most smaller businesses, there's a certain requirement which means they're going to be reporting quarterly, but when you get to slightly larger business, they're all going to be recording monthly. So just be aware when you're going to receive and how much you're going to receive, because it can impact your plans for your cash flow. And again, I just stress this, keep your eye on the news regarding these, and don't plan anything in your business based on these incentives, because they may change slightly and the requirements may change. Now, it's not likely, but it just may. So I'll try and comment below or create a new video if there's any changes to these specific items to let you know. So all the best, guys, and if you have any questions, please comment below, and if you have anything specific to yourselves, shoot me an email, give me a call, send me a message. I'm always here to help. So thank you very much.